When a woman hurts you, the first thing you want to do is make her understand how badly it affected you. You want to explain it. You want to show her the damage. You want to send the message that finally makes her realize what she did. You want her to feel your pain, recognize your loyalty, remember your heart, and admit that she should never have treated you like that. But this is where most men lose themselves. They get hurt, then they react from the wound. They send the paragraph. They ask why, they beg for an apology, they over explain their pain to someone who already saw the effect of her actions, they check her stories, they wait for her reply, they rehearse conversations in their head. They imagine her finally saying, I'm sorry, I didn't realize how much I hurt you. And while they are waiting for her to understand their pain, they slowly abandon their own peace. Listen carefully. When a woman hurts you, your strongest move is not to make her feel guilty. It is not to punish her. It is not to confuse her with games. It is not to act cold just she panics. The strongest move is to become so calm, so controlled, and so self respecting that she cannot pull the same wounded version of you back into the same old pattern. That is what confuses her, not manipulation, not revenge, not childish silence. What confuses her is when she hurts you, and instead of chasing, collapsing, begging, exploding, or trying to prove your worth, you step back with dignity. Because she may have expected the old you would have explained, the old you would have chased, the old you would have asked what changed, the old you would have checked her profile at night, the old you would have forgiven too fast just because she came back soft, but this time you do something different. You do not lose yourself. That is the shift. When she hurts you, the first battle is not with her. It is with the version of you that wants immediate relief. That version wants to text. That version wants to ask why. That version wants to know if she still cares. That version wants to say something emotional enough to make her stop and feel what you feel. But pain is not always wisdom. Pain is loud, but it is not always right. If you let pain write the message, you will usually regret the message. If you let fear choose the action, you will usually lose dignity. If you let heartbreak lead your behavior, you will often become a man you do not respect. So the first rule is simple: do not react immediately, pause. Not because you are weak, not because you have nothing to say, not because your pain does not matter. Pause because the first version of you that wants to act after being hurt is usually not the strongest version of you. It is the wounded version, and the wounded version wants relief, not truth. A man with emotional control creates distance between feeling and action. That distance is where self respect lives. You can feel anger and not insult her. You can feel betrayed and not beg. You can feel confused and not chase. You can feel hurt and not send a message that makes you look smaller than the pain. That is strength. Most men think strength is proving they do not care. That is not strength. If you care, you care. Stop pretending. The stronger move is admitting to yourself that it hurt, but refusing to let the hurt control your behavior. That is emotional maturity because when a woman hurts you, she may be watching your reaction more than your words. She may not even fully realize it, but your response tells her what kind of man you are when your ego is wounded. Do you collapse? Do you chase? Do you beg? Do you insult? Do you become desperate? Do you forgive without standards? Or do you stay calm, step back, and let your actions show that access to you changes when respect is missing? That is where power returns. A man does not regain respect by trying to make her understand him for hours. He regains respect by refusing to keep participating in a dynamic that breaks him. If she hurt you, the mistake is not that you feel pain. The mistake is handing her even more control because of that pain. You send one message, then another. Then you check if she read it. Then you check if she is online. Then you wonder why she has not replied. Then you replay every word. Then you feel worse than before. Now her action hurt you once, but your reaction is hurting you 10 times. That is what you must stop. Do not keep stabbing yourself with the same knife and calling it love. If she hurt you, step back long enough to see clearly. Not every hurt means the relationship must end. Sometimes people make mistakes. Sometimes emotions get messy. Sometimes two people misunderstand each other. But repeated disrespect, repeated coldness, repeated lying, repeated ignoring, repeated comparison, repeated emotional games, and repeated lack of accountability are not small mistakes. They are patterns. And a man must respect patterns, not potential, not memories, not the version of her from the beginning. Pause because the beginning can lie to your heart. In the beginning, she may have been warm. She may have made you feel chosen. She may have replied fast. She may have looked at you like you mattered. She may have made you believe she was different. But the beginning is not the whole truth. The truth is also how she acts when things become uncomfortable, how she handles your feelings, how she responds after hurting you, whether she takes accountability, whether she makes you feel safe to speak, whether she respects your boundaries, whether she repeats the same pain after knowing it hurts you. That is the real test. Do not chase the beginning through the current behavior. That line matters. Do not chase the beginning through the current behavior. A lot of men stay trapped because they are not in love with what is happening now. They are attached to what happened before. They are chasing an old version of her through a new pattern of pain. They keep saying, but she used to care. Maybe she did. But what is she showing now? They say, she was not like this in the beginning. Maybe she was not. But who is standing in front of you now? They say, I know the real her. Maybe you know one side of her. But do not ignore the side that hurts you repeatedly. A grounded man does not let nostalgia make him blind. He sees the whole picture. Now, when she hurts you, do not try to punish her with emotion. Do not send the angry paragraph. Do not say things just to wound her back. Do not try to make her jealous. Do not become cruel. Do not use silence as a weapon. That is not power. That is pain trying to become control. Real power is cleaner. Real power says, I do not need to destroy you. I just refuse to abandon myself again. That is the difference. If she hurts you and you react with rage, she can focus on your reaction instead of her behavior. If you insult her, she can tell herself you were the problem. If you beg, she can feel your weakness instead of your standards. If you chase, she can feel that hurting you did not cost her access. But if you stay calm and step back, there is nothing chaotic for her to fight. There is only your absence. An absence with dignity speaks louder than emotional noise, not because you are trying to manipulate her, because you are finally protecting your peace. A strong man does not need to announce his boundary 10 times. He shows it if respect is missing. Access changes. If honesty is missing, trust changes. If effort is missing, investment changes. If she hurts you and refuses accountability, your position changes. That is not revenge, that is consequence. And consequence is not something you scream, it is something you live. Now, let us be very practical. If she hurts you and then acts like nothing happened, do not pretend nothing happened just because you are afraid of losing her. That is where men lose self respect. She gives a little warmth, and suddenly he forgets the pain. She sends a cute message, and suddenly he is available again. She says, I miss you, and suddenly he stops asking whether she has actually changed. He gets so hungry for closeness that he forgets the lesson. Do not let one soft message erase a hard pattern. A soft tone is not accountability. A warm reply is not change behavior. A late night I miss you is not emotional maturity. A tearful apology is not automatically trust. Trust is rebuilt through consistency, not one moment, not one message, not one conversation. Consistencies. A woman who truly understands that she hurt you will not rush you to forget it. She will not make your pain inconvenient. She will not say, why are you still bringing that up when the wound is still open? She will not demand full access while avoiding responsibility. She will respect the fact that trust takes time. If she does not, that tells you something. A weak man hears an apology and opens the whole door. A grounded man hears an apology and watches what comes next because words can open a conversation, but behavior decides whether the door should stay open. Now, what does it mean to confuse her when she hurts you? It means you do not give her the reaction she expected. If she expected you to chase, you step back. If she expected you to beg, you stay composed. If she expected you to explode, you remain calm. If she expected instant forgiveness, you move slowly. If she expected unlimited access, you protect your peace. If she expected the old version of you, she meets a man with new standards. That is the only kind of confusion worth creating. The confusion of maturity, the confusion of self respect, the confusion of a man who no longer plays the role he used to play, because many women are used to men reacting from ego. A man gets hurt and he becomes loud, he becomes bitter, he becomes desperate, he starts proving, he starts competing, he starts trying to get revenge, he posts things, he sends messages, he acts like he does not care while clearly caring too much. But when you do not do any of that, your energy becomes different. You become hard to read in a good way, not because you are playing a game, because you are not emotionally leaking everywhere. You are contained, you are calm, you are deciding from your values instead of your wounds. That kind of man is rare. Now, there is a difference between being calm and being passive. Do not confuse the two. Being calm does not mean you accept disrespect. Being calm does not mean you stay silent forever if a clear conversation is needed. Being calm does not mean you let someone keep hurting you while you pretend to be strong. A mature man can speak, but he speaks once with clarity, not 10 times with panic. He can say, "What happened hurt me, and I am not going to pretend it did not. I am open to a real conversation, but I am not going to chase respect." That is strong. He can say, "I care about you, but I will not stay in a dynamic where my peace keeps getting damaged." That is strong. He can say, "I am not here to punish you, but I need consistency, honesty, and accountability if this is going to continue." That is strong. Then he watches behavior. He does not keep repeating the same speech. He does not argue for hours. He does not keep begging her to understand basic respect. He says what he needs to say, then he steps back and lets actions tell the truth, because a person who respects you will not need you to beg for the same boundary every week. And if they do, the problem is not communication, the problem is character. That is a hard truth. Some men think if they explain it better, she will finally understand. But sometimes she already understands. She just does not want to be accountable. Sometimes she knows it hurts you. She just does not respect the consequence. Sometimes she hears you clearly. She just believes you will stay anyway. That is why words are not enough. Your boundary must have movement behind it. If you say, "I will not accept this," but you keep accepting it, you train her not to believe you. If you say, "This hurts me," but you keep rewarding the same behavior with access, you train the pattern to continue. If you say, "I have standards," but fear makes you abandon them, your standards become decoration. A standard only becomes real when it costs you something to keep it. That is where men are tested. It is easy to say you have self respect when she is loving you. It is easy to say you are strong when she is texting you. It is easy to say you have boundaries when nobody is testing them. The real test is when you miss her and she still has not treated you right. Can you step back then? Can you stay silent then? Can you stop checking then? Can you let her feel the distance then? Can you choose your peace even when your heart wants to chase? That is where masculinity becomes real. Now, for the next 7 days, this is your reset. Do not message her first from panic. Do not check her stories. Do not ask mutual friends about her. Do not post to get her attention. Do not make emotional decisions at night. Do not reread old messages until your chest hurts. Do not send a soft message when what you really want is reassurance. Put that energy into training, work, money, sleep, discipline, faith, emotional control, and rebuilding your identity. Train your body, even if your mind is heavy. Clean your space, even if your emotions feel messy. Fix your sleep because tired men make weak decisions. Eat properly because heartbreak drains your focus. Walk when anxiety hits. Brought what you want to say, but do not send it from panic. Put your phone away before midnight. Build your day before your emotions build it for you. This is not about pretending she did not hurt you. It is about proving that the hurt does not own you. Every time you do not chase, you rebuild self trust. Every time you do not check, you rebuild control. Every time you do not send a fear based message, you rebuild dignity. Every time you keep your routine while hurting, you become stronger. Confidence is not built by saying, "I am confident." Confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. You said you would not chase, do not chase. You said you would not beg, do not beg. You said you would not abandon your standards, do not abandon them. That is how a man becomes solid. And a solid man is hard to manipulate. He does not fold because someone gives him a little affection. He does not collapse because someone goes quiet. He does not forget the damage because someone sends a soft message. He does not become bitter, but he also does not become easy. He watches, he listens, he moves slowly, he lets actions prove what words claim. Now, what if she reaches out after hurting you? This is where most men fail. They finally step back. They finally stop texting. They finally begin to rebuild. Then she sends one message, "Hey," and suddenly the old man returns. He replies too fast. He writes too much. He asks if she misses him. He asks why she did it. He tries to get full closure in one conversation. He acts like he has been waiting by the phone the whole time. And she feels it. She feels that he did not really heal. He was just waiting. Do not be that man. A small message is not a full return. A hey is not accountability. A sorry is not changed behavior. A miss you is not maturity. A warm moment is not consistency. If she reaches out, stay calm, not cold. Calm. If she says, I miss you, you can say, I hear you. What made you reach out? If she says, I'm sorry, you can say, I appreciate you saying that. If she says, I've been thinking about us, you can say, I understand. What do you want to do with that? If she says, can we talk? You can say, we can talk, but I am not rushing back into anything. These are not games. They are calm boundaries. They invite clarity without begging. They show openness without desperation. They protect your peace without attacking her. A sincere woman can respect that. A woman who only wanted emotional access may pull away when she realizes you are not easy anymore. Let that happen. You need truth more than temporary comfort because comfort can pull you back into the same cycle. Truth sets you free. Now, if she hurt you and then tries to make you feel guilty for stepping back, pay attention. She may say, so you just stopped caring? She may say, you changed. She may say, I thought you loved me. She may say, you are acting cold. But do not let guilt drag you back into a place your self respect already left. You can care and still step back. You can love and still have boundaries. You can miss her and still refuse to chase. You can forgive and still not reopen the door. That is maturity. If she says you stopped caring, you can say, I did not stop caring. I stopped chasing a dynamic that was hurting me. If she says you changed, you can say, I had to. The old version of me kept losing himself. If she says, I thought you loved me, you can say, love does not mean abandoning my peace. Those lines are not meant to win an argument. They are meant to keep you grounded because a man who knows his center does not need to fight for every misunderstanding. He speaks clearly, then watches. Now, you must also be honest with yourself. Sometimes you are not only hurt because of what she did, you are hurt because her actions touched your ego. She made you feel rejected, replaceable, unchosen, not enough. And that pain can make you want to win. You want her to regret. You want her to chase. You want her to beg. You want her to feel what you felt. That is human, but be careful. Revenge keeps you attached. Bitterness keeps you attached. Trying to make her suffer keeps you attached. Living for her regret still makes her the center of your life. A free man does not need revenge. He needs direction. He does not say, I hope she suffers. He says, I hope I never abandon myself like that again. That is the higher path, and the higher path is harder because it does not give your ego quick satisfaction. It does not let you attack. It does not let you perform. It does not let you become dramatic. It asks you to be disciplined when every part of you wants to be emotional. That is why it builds strength. A weak man turns pain into chaos. A strong man turns pain into standards. A weak man says, I will make her feel it. A strong man says, I will make sure I never ignore myself again. That is the difference. Now, there are levels to how a woman can hurt you. If she made a mistake, owned it, showed remorse, and changed her behavior, that is one thing. A mature relationship can survive mistakes when accountability is real, but if she hurts you, denies it, mocks your pain, repeats it, blames you for reacting, makes you feel weak for having boundaries, and expects you to stay available anyway, that is different. That is not a mistake anymore. That is a pattern, and patterns require distance, not endless conversations, distance, because some people do not understand what your words mean until your absence becomes real. Agon, not as punishment, as consequence. If your presence is not respected, your absence becomes necessary. That line matters. If your presence is not respected, your absence becomes necessary. A man with self respect does not keep offering presence where it is being treated like something cheap. Your time has value, your attention has value, your emotional energy has value, your forgiveness has value, your trust has value. Do not give those things away to someone who keeps damaging them. Now, if she comes back with real accountability, you do not need to be cruel. You do not need to punish. You do not need to act superior. You do not need to say, now you want me? That is ego. A grounded man can listen, but he listens slowly. He does not rush back because she sounds emotional. He does not give full access because she says the right thing once. He does not hand over trust because she finally feels guilty. He watches consistency. Consistency reveals what emotion hides. Emotion can happen in one night. Consistency shows up over time. Emotion says, I am sorry. Consistency says, I understand what I did and I will not repeat it. Emotion says, I miss you. Consistency says, I will respect your pace while trust rebuilds. Emotion says, can we talk? Consistency says, I will communicate clearly and stop creating confusion. That is what you watch, not intensity test stability. A man who has been hurt must learn to choose stability over intensity. Intensity can feel like love, but it can also be chaos. Stability may feel slower, but it is where peace lives, and peace matters more than drama. Now, what if she never apologizes? Then your healing cannot depend on her apology. This is important. Some men stay stuck because they are waiting for the person who hurt them to explain the wound. They want the perfect apology. They want her to finally understand. They want her to admit she was wrong. They want the pain to be validated by the person who caused it. Sometimes that happens, sometimes it does not. You cannot pause your life waiting for someone else's accountability. Closure is not always a conversation. Sometimes closure is the pattern. Sometimes closure is the silence. Sometimes closure is the fact that you kept asking for basic respect and still did not receive it. Sometimes closure is realizing that you do not need her to admit the truth for the truth to be real. That is freedom. A free man says, I would have preferred honesty, but I will not stay stuck without it. That is strength. You can heal without her apology. You can rebuild without her explanation. You can move forward without her regret. You can become strong without her coming back. That is the real win, because the goal is not to make the woman who hurt you come back. The goal is to become the man who no longer loses himself if she does. Now, let us bring this down to one clear principle. When she hurts you, do not become more available, become more disciplined. Most men do the opposite. She hurts them and they give more attention. She pulls away and they give more emotional energy. She ignores them and they try harder. She disrespects them and they become more careful not to upset her. That is backwards. Pain should not make you more available to disrespect. Pain should make you more aware of your standards. If she hurts you, step back and assess. Is there accountabilities? Is there change? Is there respect? Is there clarity? Is there consistency? Or is there only emotion, excuses, and the expectation that you will stay? A man must learn to ask these questions before giving access again, because access without standards becomes weakness. Now, there is a version of you that may resist this. It will say, but what if stepping back makes her leave? Then let that answer you. If your self respect makes someone leave, they were not staying for the right reason. If your boundary pushes someone away, they wanted access more than they wanted respect. If your calm distance makes her disappear, she was not bringing clarity. Let that be information. Do not fear information. Fear staying blind, because hope feels better. Hope without standards can ruin a man. It makes him wait too long, forgive too quickly, ignore too much, chase too hard, accept too little. You need hope, yes, but hope must be led by truth. Truth says, I can care about her and still protect myself. Truth says, I can miss her and still not chase. Truth says, I can forgive and still move slowly. Truth says, I can love deeply and still walk away from repeated pain. That is the truth a man needs. So tonight, if she hurt you, do not make a decision from the wound. Do not text from panic. Do not check from anxiety. Do not post from insecurity. Do not ask around from fear. Do not beg for someone to understand what they keep choosing to ignore. Put the phone down. Stand up. Drink water, walk, train, pray, work, sleep, build. Do one thing that makes tomorrow better, because discipline is how a man tells heartbreak, you can hurt me, but you cannot lead me. That is the man she did not expect, not the man who begged. Not the man who folded, not the man who kept explaining his pain to someone who kept repeating the pattern, the man who hurt but stayed composed, the man who cared but did not abandon himself, the man who loved but did not let love become self betrayal, the man who turned pain into standards, silence into strength, and heartbreak into direction. That man is hard to manipulate, that man is hard to replace, that man is free. So remember this: when a woman hurts you, do not rush to punish her. Do not rush to chase her. Do not rush to explain everything. Do not rush to forgive just because you miss her. Pause. Observe, speak once with clarity if needed. Step back if respect is missing. Watch actions. Move slowly if she returns. Protect your peace either way. That is how you handle a woman who hurts you, not by confusing her with games, by becoming a man she can no longer confuse.